really allow for more individualized learning that we know all of our kids have different learning styles, and it really is a piece of that as well.
Kind of that course correction, you know, what do they say? The definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over and expect different results. Same thing. If I take a quick little dipstick with the technology and I can literally in seconds know that more than 50% of my class does not get this concept, well, I'm going to make a course correction here and probably do some reteaching or think of another way that I can reiterate the concept at hand. So
we are going to take just a short break here, and we'll come back with Matt and Ron and talk some more about technology in our classroom and about it. Welcome back to Waterloo Schools Live. We're talking with Matt O'Brien and Ron Moreland about how technology is helping students achieve at higher levels in the Waterloo schools. And Matt, besides the active boards, there are other really new kinds of technology in our classrooms.
Sure, we've talked a little bit about the shift to kind of an interactive, information age society, and really that has led to a number of improvements that we've made. You mentioned earlier kind of the transition from multimedia used to be maybe a film strip projector, and then finally we got film strips with sound and those type of things. Really, we're now evolved into an area where we're empowering our teachers with on-demand clips at their fingertips, where with their laptop computers and with the active boards, they can spontaneously or planned pull up through a number of multimedia resources that we make available, clips on various types of topics to really further engage the students and provide them with further instant multimedia technology, and just the shift that we've taken in infrastructure to make that possible. It's been rather dramatic, going from just 3 years ago, we were at a 25 megabit pipe to the internet. We're now at 180. Next year we'll be at 250. It's really steps that we know that we've had to take in to ensure that really we're giving our teachers and our students access to these valuable resources so that they can truly access that information on demand.
Just an example of that might be, let's say you're reading fiction about the American West, and the author mentions prairie dogs, and some students says, well, what is a prairie dog? Well, right away, what could the teacher do, Ron?
Oh my gosh, immediately with probably a 10-second Google search, I can have more pictures of prairie dogs than you ever wanted to see. And then the amazing thing about the internet is this hypertext concepts, in that, what do prairie dogs eat? Okay, now the next thing we're talking science and what mammals eat, and specifically mammals that are alike, and what is a prairie dog related to? Is it kind of like a mouse? Is it, the next thing you know, you're having all kinds of educational experiences you would not have had.
And beyond just the kind of text and images that you mentioned, we actually have both through our partnership with our AEA, our local area education agency, as well as some pieces that we ourselves in our district have done, have put in some pretty vast libraries that are beyond that's just available generally on the internet, but some proprietary, so to speak, clips with discovery streaming and some other vast resources that we've tried to make available as well. So it's beyond just necessary pictures, but movies, interactivity, that type of thing as well.
Yeah. Now, our teachers have gotten very creative with the use of technology beyond some of the standard things that we have been providing professional development on to make available, build capacity for every teacher. We have some pretty interesting pilots going on in the district.
Yeah, we certainly do, and I think you kind of did a great job framing that, because we certainly have made some efforts to ensure that we have an equitable distribution of technology across all of our schools. In fact, that's one of our strategic plan projects, and that's something that I think that we've made some great strides in the last few years, making sure that all of our students have access to various forms of technology. But beyond that sort of kind of standard issue, so to speak, technology that we want to ensure that all of our teachers and students have access to, we do have a number of pilots that are underway. One of the really exciting ones has been our tablet initiative. where we actually have, right now we have 10 regular ed classrooms, as well as a good dozen or so special needs classrooms as well, where they have a classroom set of a tablet, either an iPad or an Android-based tablet. So really within that class, every student has access to that particular device, which has really kind of changed the game, so to speak, in some of the things that our teachers are able to do in those classroom environments. And we're fortunate to have some very creative teachers involved in those pilots that have really made me think more outside of the box as well in some of the things that they've been coming up with, and just taking a basic concept and perhaps, you know, instead of writing a paper about something, they're able to use their tablet and make an interactive movie on a particular project. Just one of many examples that our creative teachers have been able to come up with, which has been really cool to watch.
And Ron, there is a, I'm not sure if I can explain it very well myself, but there is a technology in use called Moodle.
Yes, Moodle is a fun thing to say. I think that
Tell us about
our
Moodle.
listeners should just say that 10 times just to have fun. But Moodle is somewhat of an online learning environment, and basically kind of the fad worldwide is a lot of colleges even are offering online coursework, correspondence courses, so to speak. And so we are offering Moodle, an online learning environment for our teachers. And what I love about Moodle is it was not a district initiative. It literally was started, we were playing with it and knew that it was something that was probably coming, but it literally was a teacher that called us saying, hey, I took this class and I want to do this for my kids. And it just so happened that we had just installed Moodle because we were playing with it down at the district level. And so it truly is grassroots. And so what's happening is we have over 1,500 users in Moodle now, which is fantastic for being something that no one pushed. I have not promoted it at all, really. It's been word of mouth, which is fantastic. Teachers are signing up and they're getting their kids logged in, and again, it's another way they can connect, turn in assignments, get resources. Teachers are linking to videos and that kind of thing. In fact, we have a really neat initiative going on at West High with a science teacher, Christine Winstead, went to a conference in Colorado called Flipping Your Classroom, and what she's doing, it's such a neat concept in that she's recording herself doing multimedia presentations where the kids, their homework when they're not in class is to basically go through these multimedia presentations, and which would be what we would consider probably the more traditional, getting the content and interacting with the content, and then when they come to class is when they do guided practice on that particular concept or skill, and so they can have discussions based upon what they watched or interacted with that evening for homework. So it's this concept of flipping your classroom is really getting a lot of steam moving forward with that. So that's kind of what Moodle's doing for us.
Now we're coming to the close of our program. We only have about 5 minutes left. Many of our homes have internet access, but some do not. Many do not. So how can families that really want to support their kids' use of the internet and make sure that they're building those skills outside of school as well as in the classroom, where are some other places that the internet can be accessed and parents can get some support?
Sure, and I think there's two components, which I know we're running out of time to that, so we'll try to address rather quickly. I can hit the one and then Ron maybe can hit the other. Really, there's a number of resources out there between the Waterloo Public Library. There's open wireless access actually at a number of restaurants in the area and things of that nature. And we as a district have actually, within the last year, gone to a much more open wireless access at a number of our schools. We now provide free wireless access if you're within the range of the school as well. So between our library, media centers, the public library, and lots of other places, there are actually a lot of community resources available. And we're continuing to have discussions on partnering with other agencies and other organizations. We have some discussions underway with some of the area churches on partnering with some after-school computer labs and things of that nature. So there's some resources available now, and those discussions are continuing to see what other opportunities we can offer. The second piece of that, I think, is really parents involving their students and helping them understand how to safely operate and safely be an internet citizen. And Ron, maybe you want to touch on that?
Yeah, just briefly, I would like to give our parents and guardians a heads up on a resource that we have just adopted, and it's onguardonline.gov, G-O-V, and it's a resource that the government is making for us on how to help parents guide their kids through this, navigating the internet safely, basically. You know, watch what you say and how you say it, protecting your identity, protecting yourself from predators, cyberbullying, all those concepts. And I just encourage people to go to that website, and there's video resources that you can sit and watch with your kids. And it's also our media specialists in every building have worked through this content with all of our students this year, so or will have by the end of the year. So, and we will be doing that on a yearly basis. I have these little booklets that, if that's of interest, they're welcome to contact me, and I can get them a booklet. They're a free resource. So.
And I'm going to switch topics here just briefly, because we have a question from our audience that has been discussed a lot lately. I want to thank you both for giving us just a quick taste of the technology. We need to have you back to talk some more.
Absolutely, more to talk about.
But the question that has been posed, has been discussed in the legislature, the governor's reform plan for education, there's quite a bit of public discussion about, is reading and what happens at the end of 3rd grade if a kid can't read. First of all, we know that's a critical milestone in education, in that basically up through 3rd grade our students are learning to read. After 3rd grade, they need to be able to know how to read so they can learn. They're reading to learn. And if they don't have those reading skills down pretty pat, it puts them at such a disadvantage for the rest of their education, really. It's so difficult to succeed if you don't have that reading in place. What's been discussed is the possibility of holding a child back if they are not at a certain level of reading proficiency at the end of 3rd grade. There's a lot of different opinions on this. The main thing I would want our audience to know right now is that it's not something that all of a sudden becomes an issue, let's say the 2nd semester of 3rd grade. It's important that schools in kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, all along the way, we are watching that reading proficiency very carefully. We're putting interventions into place that move kids to where they need to be all through those early grades. So it's not just something all of a sudden at the end of 3rd grade we're measuring and doing something about. It really requires that the adults are working effectively while the child is in preschool, kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, to build those skills so that we don't hold it. Nobody wants to hold kids back. Admittedly, there's some real concerns about doing that. So there are differences of opinion. I don't think it's been settled in the legislature. I don't think this part of the governor's proposal has been adopted. But it will certainly continue being discussed. We'll have our superintendent talk about it in a couple of weeks when he's here too. So that was just a quick overview, and I think I have to wrap up now. So thanks to our audience for joining us. Thank you, Matt and Ron, and be sure to tune in again next time.